Okay, so Star Wars Episode 8, or Star Wars The Last Jedi, as is being marketed and released and promoted as, is the 8th film in the Star Wars saga, the ninth overall, the 10th overall if you count the Clone Wars movie and Rogue One. And this is the second film in the Star Wars sequel trilogy from Disney and Lucasfilm. And this is once again this is directed by Rian Johnson, who also writes the screenplay. And the basic story is Luke Skywalker's peaceful and solitary existence gets upended when he encounters Rey, who was first introduced in The Force Awakens. She's a young woman who shows signs of the Force, and her desire is to learn the ways of the Jedi, and this makes Luke having to choose to make a decision that may change their lives forever. Also, on the other hand, you have General Leia and the Resistance battling it out against the First Order, Kylo Ren, and General Hux in all-out assaults for supremacy of the galaxy. That's pretty much all I'm going to say, because you're going to have to go into this movie just knowing that part, only that synopsis alone. Because so far this movie has been pretty divisive towards Star Wars fans. And critics are loving the film, and the movie's already becoming a big box office hit as we speak. Basically, the movie is making back $450.8 million worldwide, and so I wonder what the budget for the movie was. So we'll find out. But on to my thoughts. What did I think of Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi? I loved it. Loved it. Don't be in the comments saying you're just praising Disney because you want to. You don't see the problem in it. I don't want to hear that in the comments, because I will block them, and I'll block and report them. Anyways, here's what I'm gonna do. I did the same thing with my Rogue One review, and I'm going to do it here for The Last Jedi, because this is not as good as The Force Awakens or Rogue One, but on its own, it's a pretty entertaining movie. And I'm going to do my positives and negatives, also tell you guys a little bit of fun facts. So let's get started with the positives I have to say about the movie. Basically, I love the emotional weight of the movie. The emotional weight of this movie. There's so many scenes in this movie that hits you very hard, and I think that's what the movie comes to terms and deals with. It doesn't just tell you, oh, we're gonna be a complete rehash of Episode 5, because there are a lot of Empire Strikes Back references in here, but I like the fact that it was being something different. And for Star Wars fans, it is going to make a lot of Star Wars fans mad, because they did this with the prequel trilogy back in 1999 and 2005, and everyone wasn't so good. And that's how I feel that people are just taking these movies a little way too seriously. I think all you people out there who is giving this movie crap either just has been defending the prequels a little bit too hard, or you just don't care about anything in this franchise. Because it's been like this since The Empire Strikes Back, where a lot of people didn't get Empire Strikes Back, but now they do. And then with the prequel trilogy, they did this. And now episode 7, Rogue One, and this movie, you're acting the same exact way again. But the emotional weight of this movie, I like how the emotional weight is handled. The writing and direction of Rian Johnson. He knew what the heck he was doing, okay? This movie is 2 hours and 33 minutes long. And I don't mind the length of the movie. Now, originally, there was 20 minutes that was supposed to be in the movie that they removed. Because you could say Disney cared about the money, but me, personally, I'm going to say because Star Wars fans is not going to be able to sit through a movie that's 3 hours because people... You let Blade Runner 2049 underperform, and look what happens. Do you really think you're going to tolerate a 3 hour long Star Wars movie? I can. I don't know about all you other people, but hey, just saying. The directing and writing of Rian Johnson, I think this movie is very well written. Except for one thing. Which I'll get to when I do my negatives. But, most part, the writing and directing here is solid. I love the cinematography and production design of this movie. It is magnificent. The production design in this movie is just... It's just some of the best cinematography and production design I've seen in any Star Wars movie since Revenge of the Sith. Yeah, we going back to 2005 on this, y'all. Yeah. I think the cinematography here is just magnificently well done. I think it's just really well shot, really fantastic, really great, and it's just all kinds of magnificent. You know, it's so cool, it's so awesome. The musical score by the great John Williams is great. Okay, I can't say nothing bad about John Williams' music because besides the action, the lightsaber duels, his music is the best thing about these movies. And people say his score isn't all that good. Yeah, it is. It's great. I guess you people don't like it because it's not the London Symphony Orchestra. And it's the Hollywood... you know what? I'm going to save my breath because I'm not going to sit here and be ranting and raving like I should be. But anyways, I do love the music here. I do love the new themes. They brought back some old themes as well. And I love the music in this movie. What can I say about the music? It's great. I like that the risks that they chose to take, they took this in a very personal direction, and it was just it blew my mind that they did this. It blew my mind that they would go this route, and the way they just did this, I was like, that was pretty good, great for them to do. That was surprising, and I thought that a lot of scenes and intense moments in here really works, and I thought it just made this a very good movie. And one thing I have to say is that I do really like how this was playing out. I was enjoying how the route that they took this in a very personal situation, and it was just really cool that they took this here, the Star Wars saga in this direction with this movie. And I felt like this needed to be a different kind of Star Wars movie. The action sequences are good. The lightsaber sequences are well done. I do love the dogfight sequences. They are very well handled. They're very creative, and they're just really, really cool and just very, very awesome. I like how it's handled. I like how it's crafted. I like how Rian Johnson handles these sequences. So you can't expect me to say it's terrible. But anyway, wow. Let me just say that all the acting in this movie is great. Everyone does a good job. First up, we got Mark Hamill. I want to talk about Luke Skywalker. I love the performance of Mark Hamill. He's really great here. I think this is Luke at his weakest, because this is not the Luke Skywalker from the original trilogy, guys. He's down and torn over what happened, and you see that, and you feel bad for him. And that's what I liked what they were doing here. And there's a lot of surprises, a lot of good stuff in here. But there was one thing I feel like they could have done is, originally Hayden Christensen was supposed their stuff be in this movie, and we were hearing news about Hayden Christensen coming back, and if you were to put Hayden Christensen in the movie, I would like to have a scene where he actually appears to Luke and says, "I sacrificed myself to save you from getting killed by the Emperor, and this is how you repay me? By abandoning your own flesh and blood when she needs you the most." And he will also say, "Your mother and I, Padme, are very disappointed in you, son." And I think if you were added a scene like that into the movie, I do think that would have been pretty cool. Because basically Luke, I'm a little disappointed in the writing of him. That's one of my problems with Luke in this. I was a little disappointed with the writing of him. Because basically he's turning his back on family, and you don't do that. Again, Carrie Fisher, this is it for her. This is her very last movie, and it's not a bad way to go out. Carrie Fisher, you did great in here. The new cast, once again, is great. I love Adam Driver, Kylo Ren. I don't care what anyone says. I think he's an awesome villain. The way he acts, the way he does in these movies, is because Han Solo. He thought Han Solo and Princess Leia had abandoned him, and Snoke took him in. By the way, Andy Serkis is great as Snoke again for his little short time. I love the character arcs of the main characters in here. I thought that was pretty cool, refreshing. Some of the new characters, Benicio del Toro, Laura Dern, Kelly Marie Tran, they were all pretty great in their parts, and it was really good to see. I didn't mind the references to The Empire Strikes Back, and it's fine. It works with me. The rest of the cast, we have John Boyega as Finn, Daisy Ridley, of course, as Rey, and Oscar Isaac as Poe Dameron. They're really great. Daisy Ridley, she's great in here. I would say that much. You see her arc, and I like the arc that they gave for her. And BB-8 is still cute. And I still love Anthony Daniels in his small part. Sadly, the R2-D2 actor, Kenny Baker, passed away, but he was played by Jimmy V, which I will have to say that was pretty good that they got someone to fill in for him. Um, all the acting in here is great. I like the acting in here. I like what they were doing. It's a, it's really good movie. I think this is a very entertaining stuff that I love in the positives. And there's more good in this movie than bad. So I have to say that, to say the least. Because the truth is the truth for me. I do believe there is more good than bad. Um, but as much as I am praising this movie, I do have my problems. So I'm going to get into the issues that I have right now. First problem I have is that the underusage of certain characters like Snoke and old characters, it kind of doesn't really, it kind of just doesn't really hurt the movie, but it does leave you disappointed in some of the characters' stuff because you should have had more screen time for those for certain new characters, and that is why I think that does not. Also, I don't like some of this movie being a little dragged out because the movie's 2 hours and 33 minutes, and I felt like the movie kind of dragged in a couple of areas, mainly in the beginning and sometimes in the middle. But there was action and good scenes to keep the movie going from me having to say, okay, this movie is just flat out boring. But also, some of the questions in Force Awakens that were brought up, like the origin of Snoke, who is Rey's parents and her connection to the Skywalker lightsaber, the Knights of Ren, the Finn and Rey romance, and the horribly scarred Kylo Ren. None of those questions are fully answered. I'm guessing they're waiting until they get to the last movie, which hopefully they will have those questions answered. And seeing those questions not get 100% answered is a very major problem, but I'm hoping those answers are resolved. Another problem I have is that we still do not get a funeral for Han Solo. Because Han Solo, he is one of the most beloved characters in this franchise, and I felt like he should have at least gotten a funeral. If not a funeral, just at least some time to grieve, okay? Yeah, we could have at least give us some time to grieve for Han Solo's death, okay? And also, the last thing I do have a problem with, I guess you could say more of a nitpick, but it's a little bit of a problem. There is a lack of vulnerability in your main character, Rey. Now, granted, she does get scratched, so I will give you that, but you could have at least gave more vulnerability, weakness, or something. But I get it, it's PG-13 and it's Star Wars and it's Disney, so you're not willing to show a whole lot of blood. But I still think could have at least show a little bit of blood, just a tiny bit of blood of vulnerability, a little more than a scratch. But I guess you don't want to. But I'm 100% satisfied with most, if not all, of Star Wars The Last Jedi. I still think this is a fun movie. Not as good as Force Awakens or Rogue One or the first 6 movies, but it's still it's entertaining, it's watchable, There's more good than bad, and I do not think this movie deserves a 56 audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. That's just going too far. And when this comes out on Blu-ray, hey, definitely worth buying. That's, of course, if you don't like these new movies. You don't have to buy them. I'm going to give Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, the grade of an Epictastic. So that was my thoughts on Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Non-spoiler, I kept it as spoiler-free as I possibly could. Stick around for a spoiler discussion coming soon. And I will see you guys in more 2017 catch up. And let me know what you guys think of The Last Jedi down below. Do you like it? Did you hate it? And if you want to see what I think of the other films, well, there's a playlist that's going to be coming right up called Star Wars Movie Reviews. It's all my Star Wars reviews and trailer reactions and pre-thoughts on Rogue One. So yeah. And of course the rant for the holiday special. So, and if you like this, you can come here. We can have a good time. Let's have a friendly conversation. Let's not be like, Joshua, you're wrong. This movie sucks. Bye, everyone.